Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel. I am the Urban Witch, and in this video, I'll briefly talk about protection, why it's important for a practitioner to know and do prior to casting spells, and how it's done. As a witch, I believe that anybody who's into the craft should be able to learn how to protect themselves, especially when doing any type of spell work. Protection in witchcraft makes you safe from negative energies, spirit attacks, or from malevolent entities that may be trying to interfere with your rituals. So let's say that on the time that you have planned to cast a spell, you already have cleansed your sacred space and that you already have done your grounding ritual. What are you supposed to do next? Can you go straight to spell casting? Well, if you choose to, you can, but in my opinion, I think that won't be a very smart move. What you need to do next is put up some sort of protection. What is protection? Protection in witchcraft is something that we establish for the mere purpose of protecting ourselves. I believe there are two types of protection: long term and short term protection. Short term protection is also known as temporary protection. Temporary protection is what we are creating prior to magical workings. Temporary protection is similar to putting on raincoats or taking an umbrella when it's raining and you need to step outside of your home for a while. We either wear raincoats or we take an umbrella so that we will be protected from the rain and we won't get wet. Temporary protection is also like wearing your seatbelt when you go out for a drive or when you ride an airplane. Protection rituals work in the same manner. So, how is protection ritual done? After cleansing your sacred space and grounding yourself, the next thing that you need to do is to sit in front of your table or your designated space where you are intending to do your spell work. Next, light your candles or incenses and do a round of smoke or sound cleansing of your body and the materials and ingredients that you are using for that particular spell. Then, with eyes closed, take a few deep breaths and exhale. When you feel your whole body relax, call in your guardians, your ancestors, your deities that you work with, and ask them to have their energies form around you and establish that protective shield while you perform your spell. In my practice, I visually see in my mind's eye what I call my protective cube of space by calling in either the archangels or goddess Hecate. Now, depending on my need, sometimes I call on my ancestors to put up the walls of protection around me. So, when you do this exercise, I encourage you to visualize or create a picture in your head that a radiant band of light or a protective shield has formed around you, making you secure and impossible for bad entities from attacking you while you are casting your spell. Now, who you call to protect you is basically a matter of personal preference. What's important is that we bear in mind that protection is equally important as cleansing and grounding. All three are essential prior to any magical working. But then again, these are my beliefs. Each practitioner has their own methods and ways on how they do their own witchy practice. You can definitely choose your own ways, and as always, I highly suggest that you do what works best for you. When you've called your guardians in and you feel their presence, thank them for coming in, and then you can proceed to cast your spell. After you have completed the work, it is very important to thank them again for being there and for protecting you. I know of other practitioners who, when they do their spell work, they have items such as sigils, figures, amulets that symbolize protection, or use items that have deeper meanings that remind them of being protected. In my case, since I grew up in a small community in Southeast Asia, when I was learning about the craft from my mother, we did not have a lot of choices when it comes to physical, witchy items that represent protection. Also, that period was early 1980s, so I've learned from observation that a witch or your own self is enough to carry out a spell. Back then, the only common item that I used to see that was very commonly sold outside churches was the black candle. Until today, a black candle is a staple for me in my magical working because black candles absorb negative energies and it is used for protection. All right, my magical friends, that's it for today's topic. Protection is basically establishing a protective shield around you while you are casting your spell. I hope you find this video helpful to you and your practice. Thank you for visiting my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.